Hey there, it's Perry with Paper Crafting Threads. Thanks for joining me. Today I have an interactive project, a triple action shutter card, and a matching envelope. So let's get started. I have one of the blue card bases from the kit, and I'm going to trim off 1 2/8 from one edge. And you save this for another project. I want it to be 4 1/8 inches wide. And I'm saving that. And then turning it this way and moving it over to 5 7/8. And now the score line that was there is almost to the middle. I'm using half of one of the other card bases, cutting it down to 4 inches tall, and then cutting 3 1.5 inch wide strips. I have 2 pieces of Lost Lagoon cardstock cut to 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. I have 3 more Lost Lagoon pieces that measure 2 1/8 by 4 1/8, and this is the mechanism. I've applied a piece of adhesive sheet to the back of the Lost Lagoon cardstock. Going to expose this side and then very carefully line this up and adhere it on top. This makes this very sturdy, as this is the piece that'll be pulled for the card. Next, I have to cut a 5/8 inch frame out of this. So I'm pushing it over to 5/8, moving this down so I'm past the 5/8 mark, which is right there, and then cutting down to here and stopping 5/8 before the bottom, which will be at 5 1/4. So going up to 5/8 here and pulling it down to 5 1/4. And then I'm turning it this way, moving it over to 5/8, putting my cutter in the middle, going up here, and this time I can use this cutting edge here as my guide, and then pulling it down to 3 1/2, which is 5/8 from the bottom. And because this is double, I'm going back and forth a bit. And then turning it, scooching it over to 5/8. Starting in the middle, going up to that line, and pulling it down to 5 1/4. And the last one will be the easiest. Pushing it over to 5/8. I can just go up to my previous cut and down to this cut. And then this should pop out. So I just need to complete the cut. And there I have my frame. This is the piece that is the shutter mechanism, and again it's 2 1/8 by 4 1/8. And now I need to score 5/8 on 3 sides. So this piece gets scored at 5/8 on the long side, 5/8 on the short side, rotate 180 degrees, score again at 5/8. There's a score line here, here, and here. And now we need to do some shorter ones. So I'm putting the short end in here, moving it to 5/8 again, and coming down from the top to 5/8. Then I'm going to come from the bottom and move it 5/8, which will be the 3.5 mark. And now we have a partial one and a partial one. So I'm going to repeat that for these other two. So here are my 3 mechanisms, and here's my template for how they have to be cut. So I'm going to cut out this big chunk first, which is where that score line is here. Cutting just to the right of that score line, and this side I'm cutting just to the left of it. And we're cutting off this score line. Then turning it, and there's a score line here. We're cutting just up to that one, but we're going to miter it. So coming in from one side and coming in slightly from the other side. And then same thing on this one. And then repeat on the other ones. I have 3 pieces of basic beige cardstock here that measure 1 3/8 by 2 3/4 inches. And I'm going to glue that on this side. I'm flipping him over to this side. I have 3 more pieces of basic beige cardstock, again cut to 1 3/8 by 2 3/4 each. And I've stamped them with the Elements of Text stamp in basic beige ink. Glue these on the back side. Then I'm going to trim these corners. I'm going to slide my snips under there and using the same angle as close as I can, just trim this off. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this side. And then making sure my writing is not upside down on all pieces. To stamp my chive stems, I'm using Lemon Lime Twist ink. And then I'm taking the brush tip of the Lost Lagoon marker and adding some little accents. And to add my chive, I'm using the Petunia Pop. Next, I'll die cut the stems and the flowers with the matching Spring is in the Air dies. Then glue these down. And now to assemble our mechanisms. I have the card base here. Flipping this over, adding a bit of glue here. You do not want it to ooze out. And lining up the corners. Glue that in place. Then flip this back and use your bone folder to burnish it. Then we're going to tuck this one in here, and leaving a little gap here. So again, the glue goes on this bit here in the middle. And line that up, making sure there's a little bit of a gap there. And again, we bend this side. And last one. And bend this back. Then I have my 3 pieces of background here. And this will get glued here. Add glue in the middle of each tab. And then add your frame. And then I stamped the For You from the kit, as well as the Grown with Love from the Coordinating Grow with Love stamp set. And I have an ancient 3/4 inch circle punch that I will punch these out with. When you're ready to send this to someone, flip it over, take a label from the kit and write your message and attach it to the back. Since this is just a little bit oversized, we need to make a matching envelope. To make a matching envelope, I have a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock measuring 8.5 by 11. I'm trimming that down to 9.5, scoring the long side at 2.5 and 7 1/8, scoring the short side at 3/4 and 7. Fold on all the score lines. Remove the corner rectangles. And round your corner edges. Add adhesive to the edge of this flap. Add adhesive to this one. And add tear and tape here. And when you're ready to send it, grab another label from the kit and write the address on here. And there you have it, a triple action shutter card and matching envelope. Find written instructions over on my blog at. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching. Bye.